Law of Assumption 101.
Two of how to get people to show up conformed in your reality based on shifting the story that you may be telling in your head. So before I jump into the video, please do pause, like, save it, share with your friends, put them on game. Now, in the previous video, I spoke of how in majority of instances, people in the law of assumption community are deeply confused. They are giving their person a certain narrative based on why they broke up, why they don't want to be together, why they're not texting them, and they play that scenario in their head on loop, and then they get upset, and then they get pissed off, and then they get sad, and then they get depressed, and then they get anxiety for why that person is perfectly playing the role that they assigned to them. So I want to expand on that a little bit in this video. Let's say, as an example, you give the script to your specific person that they are in no contact, they're not communicating because they held on to something from the past, and that's the blockage to this manifestation, and I just don't know how to get through this blockage. You give them that script. They act it out, and they say, they're not going to be in any contact, and this is the reason for why. And then you wonder why that's happening. Can somebody make that make sense to me? Your specific person is only acting out the script you gave them. And I say that often, but I don't think people are really hearing me. Do you really understand that your specific person cannot act out of accordance with the story you tell yourself in the head? If you say that one time you got upset and blocked them on Snapchat is the end all be all for this situation, your reality will reflect that. And where I'm confused is where you're confused, thinking they can act outside of what you've already decided in your head. That's where I'm confused. Can somebody explain that to me? How can your man, woman, or child act differently? I say it so often that people cannot act and press the override button for your poor assumptions, and they literally can't. But yet some people are still so deeply disappointed that if I sit there and I ask them, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, where is your biggest fear or biggest blockage? They'll say some excuse that has nothing to do with anything. An excuse in many instances where no man or woman in the history of the world has actually held on to something like that. The problem is you need to take those circumstances off the pedestal, affirm and play the story that they got over it, and finally start receiving your specific person, receiving your desire, receiving your manifestation.